Hi and welcome to another LRCC Soundbite. For the last 2 weeks Jesus has been travelling along a road and I'm going to carry it on again. This is the third week in a row. Jesus is still on a road. This time he's heading towards a city called Jericho. And there's a large group travelling with him, as there often was. And they were travelling with him so they could learn from him. They listened to everything that he had to say at every opportunity. And these are people in addition to the famous 12 disciples. It's possible there was anything up to about 300 people travelling with him. Today, as this great group is travelling along, they pass a beggar at the side of the road. This poor man is in this position because he's blind. Sad to say, society was not very accepting of people with any kind of disability. He wasn't able to work. He had no value in society. Anyway, this man asks the crowd what's going on. Large crowds don't normally pass by him. They tell him that Jesus is passing by, and that triggers the man to start shouting out because he's heard of Jesus. He shouts to him and he asks for mercy. And the people in the crowd say to him, no, just be quiet. We want to try to listen to what Jesus is saying. And that just causes the man to shout even louder. And Jesus hears and he stops. And in the middle of this large crowd, he asks them to bring the man over. So they do. And as he arrives, Jesus asks the man a simple question. He says, what do you want me to do for you? You might have thought it was kind of obvious. Jesus really ought to recognise this man's need, and you wouldn't be wrong. He and everyone in the crowd would have known that the man was blind. But there's something important in the question. See, this man had to ask Jesus for what he needed. He said, Lord, I want to see. Jesus replied, look, and you will see. Because you believed and trusted, because you had faith, you have been healed. And immediately the man could see. He thanked Jesus. He praised God. He joined the crowd of people that were travelling with Jesus. And the whole crowd learnt that sometimes if you need something and you want something, you need to ask. Still today, we can ask Jesus for things that we want and things that we need. Talking to Jesus is what we call prayer, but it's nothing more than a conversation. See, the great thing about prayer is you can say whatever you need to say to God and he will listen. He doesn't switch off halfway through like we might do. He doesn't ignore you. Of course, that doesn't mean that you can just present a wish list of everything you fancy. Well, I suppose you can, but don't have any expectation of receiving it, because prayer isn't like a vending machine or sending your Christmas list to Santa. Jesus said that when we ask for things in the way that he would do things, in the way that Jesus acted, and for the reasons that he would do things, then you will always receive what you ask for. You know, a lot of people keep a prayer diary. When they pray about things, they record them and then look back and see whether see what God's answer was to that situation. It can also be a great reminder of what you prayed for before, so you can keep on praying for it if it's still important. Because Jesus said that God loves to hear our prayers and that there is nothing wrong with asking over and over and over again for something that is important. In fact, he even said that's exactly what we should do. As I mentioned, prayer is nothing more than a conversation. Why don't you try it? If you want to talk more about what it is or how to do it, then you're welcome to get in touch or pop along to number 44 Lindbergh Road any Sunday afternoon from 2 p.m. We'll be able to not only talk about praying and how we each find doing prayer, but we can also give you stories of how prayers have been answered, sometimes immediately and sometimes over a period of time. I do hope you have a great week. God bless you, and I'll see you next time.